Let's rewind a bit. Before this trip, my girlfriend and I had been together for about a year, and for the first 3 months of our relationship, we traveled across the world without each other. She backpacked across Europe for 2 months with one of her best friends, while I took a couple of shorter trips. One to the Philippines for a month with 4 of my best friends, and another across Europe for about a week with a competition that I won with Red Bull.
We're at the Berlin Wall.
Hello.
That's a story for another time. All of these trips were planned well before we started dating, or even knew each other for that matter. So as you can imagine, we were very eager to travel somewhere together. Ashlyn had never been to Asia, and I loved my trip to the Philippines so much that I wanted to explore more of that region. So we booked cheap flights to Bangkok without a single plan. Fast forward 2 months, and we're getting on a plane. This is the story of how a spontaneous trip turned into memories that we will hold for a lifetime. After a full day of exploring the city, we got a good night's rest. We got up early the next morning to get on a boat and check out the temples. While the temples were incredible, our main reason for going to Thailand was to visit an elephant sanctuary for Ashlyn's birthday. We had a chill night at the Airbnb after a long day of exploring, and hopped on a plane the next morning to Chiang Mai. We arrived in Chiang Mai a day before our elephant excursion, so we decided to spend the afternoon on a mountaintop temple just outside of the city. We planned a full-day excursion to learn about the elephants, how to make the medicine balls, and to bathe them in mud baths. It's important to note that there are many sanctuaries in Thailand that are unethical. A good rule of thumb is to stay away from any place that puts on elephant shows or allows you to ride them. While these acts in themselves aren't harmful to the animal, the training that it takes to get them comfortable with those activities involves extremely unethical treatment. One more. We took a break from the fun to enjoy a lunch that they had prepared for us. The timing was perfect as a beautiful jungle rainfall rolled through for only about a half an hour while we finished our meals. This was a relaxing time to observe the elephants as they enjoyed themselves in the rain. If you're interested in spending a day with elephants, please do your research before coming to a place like this. The elephants that we spent time with were all rescued from terrible situations to be rehabilitated. That said, we had an incredible experience, and I can't imagine a better way that we could have spent Ashlyn's 23rd birthday. We learned a lot and enjoyed being in the presence of these truly beautiful and gentle animals. At the end of the day, we loaded up the van for the bumpy ride home. We reminisced about the amazing experience that we just had, and started to get excited as we realized that we weren't even halfway through our trip yet. We spent our first 2 days in Bali in a region called Kuta. We mostly relaxed on the beach and in our incredible villa to recover from our action-packed time in Thailand. I still can't believe this place was only $40 a night. After our relaxation days, it was time to head to Ubud. Spending our first day in the rice fields of Ubud was the perfect introduction to the more rural part of Bali. We had fun taking pictures and seeing one of the most iconic places on the island. We ended the night with a swim at our jungle villa, which we had entirely to ourselves. After our swim, we went for a walk and discovered a restaurant in a nearby rice field. It was full of beautiful artwork painted by the owner himself. And once again, we had the place entirely to ourselves, which felt extremely special.
So good.
With a successful first day in Ubud, the only thing we had left to do was see the monkey forest.
If you need me, I'm yours. If you want me, if you need me, I'm yours. If you want me, if you need me.
There's said to be over 700 monkeys in this forest, as well as over 100 species of trees and several temples to look at. The monkeys were extremely entertaining to be around, but also a little bit scary, as they did not hesitate to get close to you and take things away from tourists. All in all, we had an incredible experience. We spent the rest of our final day relaxing at our jungle villa. This place was extremely unique because it was a brand new resort and we were the only guests. Because of this, we got to know the owner and her 2 sons pretty well. She told us that she had worked in the hospitality business her entire life and that it was her dream to manage her own resort. Her and her husband bought the small plot of land that her resort sits on today, and she is learning how to manage it as she goes. Her story was extremely inspirational to us, and we were grateful to meet such an incredible woman. I ended up offering her my photography skills to help boost her Airbnb listing. She was so grateful for our help that she surprised us with a romantic dinner for our last night. For dinner, she prepared a local delicacy called bebe tutu, a Balinese roasted duck typically made only for ceremonial purposes. She explained that it took an entire day to prepare. This was one of the most memorable experiences of my entire life. We felt like we were in heaven as we enjoyed our meal and looked at the stars. Ubud, Bali is a special place and somewhere we'd like to go back to someday. We left the next morning to head to our final and favorite destination of the entire trip, a tiny island called Nusa Penida. Nusa Penida has to be one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's slowly increasing in popularity, but is still mostly visited by day trip excursions that are organized from Bali. Because of this, it was recommended to us that we spend several nights on the island so we could avoid tourists and see some of the lesser known parts. We took the advice and spent 4 days here, and man am I glad we did. Other than the iconic T-Rex beach, we rarely saw anyone other than the locals. The island is still very much in a developing state, and even the roads are terrible, which made driving our moped a bit treacherous at times. This definitely pushed Ashlyn's comfort zone, as well as mine, but seeing the island by scooter turned out to be one of our favorite parts of the entire trip.
Can you enter?
T-Rex Beach, otherwise known as Kalinking, required an hour-long descent to reach, and it was one of the most dangerous trails I'd ever seen. It took a huge effort to reach the bottom, and we felt extremely accomplished when we finally did. We experienced a lot of firsts on this journey, and I believe that in those moments of uncertainty, we were truly living. This trip was special to me because it was the first time that Ashlyn and I had to solely rely on each other. She is the best travel companion I could ever ask for, and this trip confirmed that for me.